Hey guys, Skypoint here. I wanted to make this video to share with you the current version of my Astra Militarum deck and show you some of the favorite fights which I've had with it. So if you saw my stream on the weekend, this is pretty much the same deck. I think I made a couple of minor changes from some cards I added. I now have 2 Cadian standard bearers. I also traded in a wild card to get a Rogal Dorn tank, so that just adds in a little bit of defensive ability, and that ended up replacing the Basilisk in my deck. So just to recap, in terms of legendaries, obviously I have my Warlord. I have Cadia Stands, which I think is the most important Astra Militarum legendary card. I also have the Tech-Priest Enginseer. He's not that great. I've only ever managed to trigger his duty ability once, but he is kind of useful in that he effectively is a vanguard unit because your enemy will try to focus him down, and while they're doing that, something else isn't getting hit, like your Warlord. Alright, anyhow, so yep, I think those are the 3 legendaries I have there. Apart from that, everything is common, rare, and epic. Let's go and get into some of those favorite fights of mine. Alright, the first fight here is against Oral Ventress of the Ultramarines. Starting off, 5 and 10 energy costs are too expensive, but Cadia Stands is too good to pass up, and it's a good card, so to get 4 energy means I can play it in my 3rd turn. So we're going to go ahead, and that is a much better set of cards. So I do have the first turn here. So what I'm going to just do is play Faeburn Vanquisher and use that to discount the Flamer Trooper. That'll be useful for later. So my opponent goes ahead, he plays a pretty high health troop and destroys my guy. And this is where this particular Warlord's talent ability is very handy. What I'm going to do is just give my Warlord 3 attack, and I can just wipe out that troop quickly. The board stays neutral. Alright, my opponent puts down a pretty decent card, triggers the Codex ability, but I've got no troops to actually deal random damage to, so that does nothing. And normally I would play a unit here, but with Cadia Stands ready to go, all I'm going to do is do a melee attack on that troop. He's either going to attack me doing 4 damage and die, or it'll stay alive, and in this case it's staying alive. Yep, he's trying to keep him there for his Codex ability. Alright, now I don't really want that Codex ability triggering, so I use my duty ability, and now I drop the Tech-Priest. So honestly, I'm not expecting him to survive at this point, but what I'm just hoping is that this enemy Vanguard troop will prioritize trying to hit the Tech-Priest, which should do enough damage to it to kill it. Alright, so now he's doing 1 point of damage. He's clearing out my right flank. Now his Warlord can attack. Okay, he's drawing a couple more cards. Look at my hand, by the way. 2 Mechanized Infantry. That's a 7 energy common tactic. Oh yeah, there we go, that cleared out. So the Enginseer was handy for clearing the enemy Vanguard. Okay, Cadia Stands kicks in nicely. Since I have some defense, I'll drop the Flamer Trooper. Give everyone some bonus damage, and then we'll knock out the enemy line. I'm going to go ahead and play the Vox Operator in the hope that I start getting vehicles. I just had the spare energy and nothing to do with it. Alright, so he's getting started on my lines. There we go, area damage. And he can either take out the Flamer Trooper, well no, only the Flamer Trooper, so he kills the Flamer Trooper before he does any damage. And unfortunately for me, I did not draw a vehicle, so I'm going to play Mechanized Infantry. I want this Vox Operator to really survive. Blowing all my energy on getting a bunch of frontline troops should help there. Okay, Primaris Invader. And Primaris Intercessor. And lastly, Octavia Infiltrator. So his Codex ability triggers. He's the only vehicle. And he can't do much. He's just picking off my guys' health. Alright. Let's go ahead and drop the Cadian Standard Bearer. And you can see now, this is a vehicle deck, but I've got a full board of infantry. Let's give my guys extra health. Attack with my Warlord. And what I'm going to do is, lose one more guy. And instead of throwing people aimlessly at that, I'm going to use my duty ability there. And one attack. And my duty ability on the enemy Warlord. So this is starting to look pretty solid. He goes ahead, he drops the Invictor Warsuit. So that's going to do enough damage to each of my guys to kill them as they attack. But he's missed out on one important thing. Duty. Not the Cadian Shock Troopers, but the Cadian Standard Bearers. Give +2 ranged attack to my units this turn. So activate his ability and activate my Warlord talent. And without a single vehicle being played, I have absolutely overwhelmed him with just infantry out of this deck. That Invictus Warsuit is wrecking these poor guys, but that won't matter here. One more attack. Another Cadian Shock Trooper dies. And lastly, just use my Warlord. And that's it. Game over. Okay, for the next fight, we're up against the Sisters of Battle, Junith Arioka, I think. I'm so terrible at her name. Starting off over here, card for my second turn. I've got the Cadian Standard Bearer for my third turn. Full Throttle is the only misplaced card here, so I'm putting that away. And I get actually a pretty good card for my opening turn. Alright. Let's get started. Recon Operation is going to help me to draw options. So let's go ahead and get started. Recon Operation, no enemies are affected, so I draw more cards, and that is just perfect. Just attack the enemy Warlord. So he goes ahead, uses her talent ability to draw a Battle Sister, uses her, I guess, defense card to gain 1 faith, and praise. Healing herself and getting ready for more faith. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and drop the Ogryn here, and just attack the enemy Warlord to slow down some of that faith gain. I didn't have enough damage to hit the Battle Sister and kill it, so... Alright, so he's getting started. There we go. Battle Sister's dead. Attacks with this Warlord to clear out that front line. And we're done. Okay, so let's see what we do. We're going to go ahead and do some damage to that guy. That unfortunately buffs him. Let's put in a Cadian Standard Bearer for a little bit of protection. Ooh, he's got a flanking troop. That's not good. The flanking troop takes out my vanguard. He heals that Penance troop a bit, who attacks and takes some damage. But fortunately, he only has 1 point of health left. So all I'm going to do here is bring in my second Cadian Standard Bearer for another vanguard troop. And go ahead and destroy his unit. Alright, I could not stop the prayer there. He's up to 3 faith. Moment of Grace. He's really buffing his Warlord. That's a smart move. Knocks out my frontline troop. And another Moment of Grace to his flanker, which gives her enough damage to clear my Cadian Shock Trooper. Alright, that wasn't ideal, but it is what it is. So what do we do here? I'm going to drop the Flamer Trooper. Now normally he's kind of vulnerable right now. I'm hoping if I stun the enemy Warlord, A, I can stop her from praying and gaining faith, and B, I can stop her from doing any damage to that Flamer Trooper. Relics of St. Catherine. He's pounding on the faith there. He's got enough faith now that he gets 2 Battle Sisters with his talent. So that does look pretty dangerous. Fortunately, I've got Cleansing Flames for him. So what I'm actually going to do here, though, is drop my Vox Operator and drop the Bombast Field Gun. That's a fantastic 7 energy combo, because the Field Gun now shoots the enemy Warlord, doing a ton of damage, and my Flamer troop is still alive. And my Vox Operator is still alive for any future vehicles. The Relics of St. Catherine come in again. Another Lead the Righteous for 2 more Battle Sisters. And he starts praying. So this is good. He didn't attack my Bombard, so it retains its long range trait. So I'm going to go ahead, drop some Mechanized Infantry to protect my line. Going to give all my troops bonus stats until the next turn. And attack the enemy Warlord, doing a ton of damage to her. Lastly, my Flamer Trooper answers the call of duty, damaging most of the enemies. My Warlord does some damage, and my Vox Operator on the side does a bit of damage. So I'm feeling really good here about finishing him, and then he does this. His legendary board clear card. He raced to high health, so he's able to use that, and all of a sudden I have nothing. He's got Vanguard, and he's drawn 2 more troops, and he prays, giving her Sky extra stats and health, and prays on his Warlords. He's continuing to ramp up the faith here. Yes, he's on 6 health and I'm on 30, but he's got frontline stuff coming up. Alright, I am going to try and prepare my own front line of units. Lots of shock troopers, and I know I have siege warfare coming next turn, so I'm going to get my next Vox Operator down, and I'm hoping that he manages to stay alive because of all the Cadian shock troopers. Another Vanguard. And another Vanguard. This guy's very nasty. Gives when he prays he gets a shield, so I really need to kill him before she starts praying. Okay, so he's cleared out most of my front lines, but crucially that Vox Operator is indeed still alive. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead, deploy Siege Warfare. What do I get? A Bombast Field Gun, perfect. And a Leman Russ tank. Okay, that's looking solid. Alright, so use my Bombast to do some area damage. That cleared out a bunch of units. Use my Warlord to attack that guy, which triggers my Leman Russ to shoot the enemy Warlord. Keep doing attacks, and there we go. Cleared out the enemy Vanguards, and I still have my frontline troop up, and my Vox Operator's alive. He drops that unit, but clears out most of my board, but he knows that's it. The Leman Russ's armor did save it. And she quits. So that was another one. This time I did use my vehicles. I used them pretty much optimally with the Vox Operator. The first one gave the Bombard flank, so he could clear out a lot of his board, and the second one really helped with the 10 energy tactic, which brought out 2 vehicles from my deck and let them act immediately. Alright, let's move on to the final fight. This last one is a brutal Astra Militarum civil war, so Lord Solar against Creed. Okay, so what am I doing here? I am actually replacing a couple of early cards. I could have kept the Recon Operation, but I think I was hoping for one of my 1-cost infantries or Cadia Stands. I got neither one. I did pick the Blind Assault. No, I think he went first. Yeah. She went first and picked Blind Assault. So every time you get a skull, one of the random units gets a 0 ranged attack for a turn. So she went ahead, she started by using her ability to get a tactic and discount it. Nothing special I can do here. Just give my Warlord extra damage and going to town. Alright, so next she's continuing to use her tactic, collecting up legendaries, I'm sure. Let's see here. Okay, there's the Faeburn Vanquisher, but for now I'm dropping the Flamer Trooper and a Shock Trooper. So the Shock Trooper should protect the Flamer Trooper, because next turn I know I can also drop the Ogryn if needs be. If he doesn't drop any troops, leave the Flamer Trooper alive and then bring in the Ogryn. Sure enough, nothing special happened over there. All I'm going to do now is drop the Ogryn. Now, unfortunately, after doing that, I've got no troops to use the 1 energy from Faeburn Vanquisher on. So I'm not doing anything at all, not doing anything with the Flame Trooper. I've got plenty of front vanguards to keep him alive. And here comes a Bullgryn Bone'ead. Takes out one of my Cadians. Alright, now this is going to get a little bit tougher. Again, I'm not drawing troops to use that Faeburn Vanquisher, which is vexing. Let's just use my Warlord ability. 2 points of damage from a tactic on the Bullgryn, and then I can attack it. And I still have 1 point of health left on my Vanguard unit, so my Flamer will just sit there. My enemies... oh, look at that. Front line. And now he's using his duty ability to get something. Oh, execution's about to happen. Yes, he executes my Vanguard. That lets him pretty comfortably destroy my Flamer before he had a chance to do anything. Alright. So, I'm going to go ahead, use my Faeburn Vanquisher right now. Make my Flamer Trooper a little cheaper. And I'm going to drop the Flamer Trooper. And then after that, use Pinning Fire. So honestly, the Faeburn Vanquisher did very little for me there. But at least I got an extra body onto the board. Okay, this is going to start getting a bit tricky. He's got 5 health and an armor. So let's drop some Mechanized Infantry. That's going to help protect my Flamer for now. I'm going to use my Flamer's ability. Some damage over there. And use my Warlord's duty ability to finish off that Bullgryn once he got down to 2 health and 1 armor. Okay, so opponent gets a cheap vehicle. Something nasty will come. And a Faeburn Vanquisher. Okay. And he created High Command. Great. So now he's up to full energy. And he brings in a Standard Bearer. What discounted that thing? Oh, the Faeburn guy did. And a vehicle. So now he's got front line. He's got a vehicle presence. Pretty solid positioning now. My cards are not that great. So let me just make all my units a little bit stronger. I'm going to bring the Faeburn Vanquisher in. Use that to make the Vox Operator a little cheaper. Do some damage. Just focusing on trying to hit down the enemy Warlord as much as I can, because while he has stronger units and more of them, I have a huge health advantage. So I get him down to 4 health. Now he's clearing off my board. My goal here is to survive until my 11 energy turn and try and do something with Vox Operator and Siege Warfare. He played Siege Warfare, but he made a mistake. He did it when he only had room for one vehicle on the board. This, I think, probably cost him the game. Alright. Leman Russ tank. Oh, okay, let's drop the Leman Russ tank for now. Gonna go ahead and give all my units extra strength and try and clear off some of these guys here. Okay, one more attack. If I'm lucky, I can win this turn. And I was not lucky. Okay, at least I reduced the number of units on the board, but he can still do a ton of damage to me. Here it comes, Siege Warfare, 2 more vehicles. Another Leman Russ. And a Baneblade Tank. And he boosts the attack on all this stuff. destroys my Leman Russ. Hits my Warlord hard. And honestly, again, if he hadn't gone for my Leman Russ... Oh no, he missed an attack. He missed 2 attacks there. He really wanted to keep one front line up. And that was his undoing. Drop a Vox Operator. I don't even need to use Siege Warfare. I'm going to drop this Bombast Field Gun. And... attack. So my opponent actually made 2 mistakes. He had lethal, I think. If he didn't try to kill my Leman Russ, he just went all in on my Warlord. Instead, he lost over there. Alright, so anyhow, that's enough for this video. I think I showed 3 of my favorite fights. So far, I think I've had a win rate of a little over 50% with this deck, but that's also because I'm continuing to make a lot of mistakes. I'm still getting used to it. I'm feeling pretty good. I think I'm onto something. I just need a little bit of tweaking. I know I need more legendaries. This deck needs that Death Strike missile, the 9 energy board clear, because right now I struggle a little when I do lose control of the board. But overall, I think this is looking promising. If you've unlocked the legendary Warlord, you can try this out too. As I said, I think the only essential card in this one, legendary, is Cadia Stands. Well, apart from the Warlord. And yeah, try that deck out. Alright. So here is that deck one more time. So yeah, build it. If you modify it and find there's something that works really well, I'd love to hear from you. I'm always looking for insights to make this deck work out a little bit better. I will try and post the code for the deck in the comments for this video as well, and you can see it there. Alright, so until my next video or my next stream, I guess I will see you on the battlefield. Thanks for watching, everyone.